UFC 170 is in the books, as well as 5 Grappling yesterday, which means it's time for Verbal Tap, the show that proves fighting is just a lot easier from outside the cage. With me, the man who was at 5 Grappling, the Thelma to my Louise, as we drive off this cliff of MMA coverage.
I would never drive off a cliff with you. Never in a million years. No.
I can't believe I got that far before you interrupted. I was like, I'm going to for sure get him right after the Louise
Kevin,
comment.
you very much know it's very similar to my jiu-jitsu game, which is I basically let you make the mistake and then highly capitalize on that. So it's a lot less exerted energy on my part. But yes, that was the big mistake, was Thelma.
The thing we call the waiting game. How was 5 Grappling yesterday?
Well, in addition to my wonderfully apt metaphor as a transition to jiu-jitsu, it was awesome, dude. It's cool to see so many people out there competing. The caliber match is always good. So the last time we went there, it was in November for an invitational. So it was kind of a big production. Let's show you what it all looks like kind of deal with the 5-man round robin and the invite only folks for the different divisions. This was a full scale tournament, but with a little bit of an interesting twist. They capped the entries at 500. They had gi, no gi, all, traditional sorts of tournament things, except every once in a while when you turned around, you'd see people like, oh, look, that's Andre Galvo. Oh, look, over here. Is that Colin Hart from The Ultimate Fighter season 17 just walking around? And, oh, wait, he's competing? Okay. Oh, look.
Now,
okay.
Oh, they're all competing. All these people are competing.
Galvo was teaching or coaching, and we got an interview with him. That was really cool. Coaching there as well was Josh Barnett. Just really, really cool people. But Colin Hart was actually competing in the event, as was Keenan Cornelius, friend of the podcast. So it was cool to kind of look around and see that individuals who are competing and want to be at an elite level not only are competing at a place where they can get that experience to help them get to that level, but to also see the people who are those awesome people who destroy in jiu-jitsu.
I watched Keenan's match. I watched one of Keenan's match, obviously, because I'm a YouTube jiu-jitsu whore. As soon as it comes out. And 5 is, again, my compliments to them. They're always really good about getting their stuff out, especially the stuff people want to see, which tends to be someone like Keenan, because it's a domination. What was it like to watch it live?
Keenan is he's on a different level of jiu-jitsu. It's almost gross.
Did you get a chance? Did somebody all of a sudden just buzz you in and be like, hey, Raf, why don't you just go fight this next match for me? I'm exhausted. Did anyone try that?
No, for good reason, I think. But I love that when I'm watching jiu-jitsu matches happen, you'll be around with other people who want to be in the competition. I don't want to be in the competition. I want to drill the move. Like, if you see a move that's just so out there and you are both envious and in awe and amazed, you immediately want to go and try that out. And you don't get the pleasure of being able to do that right then and there. You have to wait the next day or, whenever you train again. And it's really cool because you walk away with different parts of learning different people's games. And certain people, like one of our buddies, Eric Medina, who we talked to, I believe he won blue belt open weight no gi. And this dude hit no less than 4 firemen's carries.
Really?
Oh.
Not a traditional move you see very often,
nope.
Especially for someone to hit it 4 times.
And the thing is, from different opponents, it'd be different if it was one opponent. There were a couple opponents who tried it multiple times to basically set him up. So all he had to do was go yoink. Okay, got it. But
I want to go for the ride.
Oh my god! Oh no, that's the best transition ever. Because I definitely
to what?
I definitely interviewed
a
guy who, when you guys see this video, please know that this is me doing what I do to other people who are real. But there was a guy who we jokingly said kind of looked like Alexander Gustafsson. So I went to go interview him, and I didn't refer to him anything other than Alexander Gustafsson.
You just kept calling him Gustafsson.
Uh-huh. And the dude...
You enjoy the Colbert style of reporting.
It is kind of what I do.
Especially Daily Show.
And it's the thing is, you want to break up the super seriousness of a jiu-jitsu tournament where everybody's stressed out. Everybody knows things are running late. It's always a murderous schedule. So when people win or when people do matches and they're all happy, you want to go and just have fun with them and to interact like this. This dude won 4 different gold medals, so he was in a good place to begin with. But when I was talking with him, turns out dude was some kind of European. He was actually Russian. So cut to me interviewing him, and I'm like, "Hey, Alexander Gustafsson, how are you doing?" He goes, "Very good. Thank you very much for talking to me." And I go, "Oh no, you're not at all like the Swedish
Holy
kid."
Shit, I wasn't, but you weren't far off.
Were you?
Like in the terms of Rocky villains, which is how I measure people from other countries, it's right. Basically the same.
And I love that as I'm talking with him, I just go, "Wow, you're the Swedish wrecking machine? Is that what you are?" And he just goes, "Yes, I am very much Swedish wrecking machine."
That is me.
That was very fun. But I don't know. The people at 5, they really put their heart and soul into it. There are a couple of small mishaps that were happening, but when you see the, yeah, I mean, it's a jiu-jitsu tournament. I don't know how you don't expect that.
Terrorist activity.
And really, like, it was to the point where certain people were in a line for a long time, like, their system crashed for a little while, but they pulled it together, they got things going, and the one thing I told people was, that was maybe challenge number 1. Like, that was your match before you make it to the mat, so if you did, congratulations, you won your first match, if you can get through the weight. But 2, people, when they come to jiu-jitsu competitions, want to see high-caliber jiu-jitsu. And a lot of the matches I saw there, I felt were solid, really, really good competitive spirit going on. And people just, when I have a camera and I'm filming, and I would love that there are 8 different mats that are going on, and I could put the camera on one person and then kind of tilt, and on the corner of your eye, you could see another group right next to them want it more. Then you could see another group next to them want that fight that much more. So every time you turned your head a little bit, you saw another group of people just fighting for it, and by proxy giving you good fights. So that's really all you can ask for at a jiu-jitsu tournament.
It sounds like my field of dreams.
Yeah, it is. It really is. You have to play catch with your father now. That's the only problem.
Hey. Yeah, I'll just, we don't have enough history for me to pick someone from that excavate. It's like Braulio Estima's like, "Hey, Kevin, you want to have a catch?" It's
well,
like, what?
You know.
I mean, a roll, but you get it. It's a thing. It's like, yes, I do.
Well, I think he just goes, "Son, you want to catch wrestling?" "Oh, Dad, you're the best. Yay."
That's probably exactly how it is. I also was listening to Open Mat Radio with our friend Paul Moran, and he said he was going to be there. Did he make it to the 5 grappling competition?
Yeah, sure, he was there.
Why do you say it like that? Yeah, sure, he was there.
I mean, that's a fact. I'm not really.
Did you talk to him?
Yeah, I talked with him. I did his podcast, whatever, charity.
Well, hold on. I'm sorry. Could you go back a second?
Yeah.
You were just being super nonchalant, and I think you said something important. You did what?
I was on his podcast. No big deal. It's cool.
You were on his podcast?
Why not?
No wonder. I knew you had a tone. You cheating bitch.
First of all,
your
shut
nemesis?
up. No, it's not even. Okay, look. I know you're trying to make this a big deal, but really what it was.
You know I'm going to listen to it, Raf. That's what you knew you had to tell me. When were you going to tell me?
You're the one that's bringing up this weird metaphor that now, if you want to take it the next step, is really you watching the video of me cheating on you. So live with that for a second. And
listening, but yeah.
No. The podcast was fine. Here's the thing. Paul runs openmatradio.com. a subpar version of whatever it is we do. And he is my BJJ podcast nemesis. Now, I could easily say no and be the alpha and go superior on him, but I take pity on him and the little rinky-dink thing he calls a podcast. So I was like, all right, I'll cut you a deal. Fine. I'll come on your podcast, talk your little jiu-jitsu game, and yeah, I'll be on the first hour of your 9-hour podcast. Sure.
14 hours and 27 minutes into the podcast, Raf gets into his training methods and what's coming next.
It's true.
So
have I told you I started
that.
doing a really shitty Paul impression, though?
No, you did not tell me. I guess I always assume you do at least some level of an impression.
Oh, that's
everyone.
right. I did an impression of you on the podcast.
What?
I did.
What?
I just totally forgot. We didn't talk about that off air. I did.
Oh, God.
And Paul was crying, laughing once I got to you, because I didn't even really have to explain it was you. I just said, oh, you know, and when I talked to Kevin, I'd say this, and Kevin responds like this, and he laughed a lot, you know, like people do when I do my impressions. It's cool.
Can't wait to hear that one come out.
Yeah,
high note of...
You know what the stupid part is? Maybe it was a trick on me. Maybe he just recorded a podcast that I'll never put up.
Oh my God, if he does, I'm officially going to just every 4 minutes... I might get his podcast tattooed somewhere if that's what he does.
Yep.
Especially if the impression never makes it to Earth. I was about to ask you, high point of 5 grappling. What was like your moment that you were just like, oh, this is fucking cool? I also saw our friend Travis Nuwaza was there.
Yeah, no whistle. Don't ever call him that, though. I always make fun of him for doing that. We talked with him on an interview as well, so we'll have video of that. Travis is insane. He's like a weird...
In a great way.
Yeah, in the right ways. In a really creative way. But he brought a team of like 30 people he's sponsoring. So,
Jesus.
Yeah, man. I mean, his arm...
Nuwaza Shorts Apparel. They're great. They do some really cool rash guards.
Mm-hmm. And they did really well, so it was cool to hang out and talk with a little bit of them. And just, you know, they're really chill people for many reasons, but they're really... relaxed, and you can sit and talk jiu-jitsu with them for hours, and they're super creative and goofy. And I like the fact that when you talk with Nwaza and the people he sponsors, not only are they good practitioners of jiu-jitsu, but they're just cool people. So it was good to catch up with him. High point, I would say, God, I don't know. I think
God was there?
God, he made an appearance. He had an open weight class.
God swung by. He was fighting masters.
You didn't want to roll with God. Yeah, I'll say I can't really narrow down to just one, but let's say a couple. One was doing the podcast with Paul, believe it or not. He was actually very fun, and he's a big proponent of our podcast, and we know his exists. So that was one. Two was actually getting to talk with Colin Hart, who is a member of TUF 17, our
TUF
favorite.
17!
And dude wrecked it. He was really good. And for us, I explained to him, I was like, hey, man, you may not know who we are, but we definitely made fun of you all season during TUF 17. And Colin, in his true Colin way, just goes, no, dude, I mean, it's all good. It's just, you know, it's cool.
That's a really good.
That
is exactly what he sounds like,
yeah.
by the way. It's like scary.
He's trying to conceal a smile as he talks always. And I think we got a good interview with him. He ended up, I think, silvering winning. He did really well. Let's put it that way.
It was somewhere in the bronze range.
He was somewhere in the winning range. I'm pretty sure he won, but he had a belt by the end of the night. So there you have that. And he was good people. And I think the other good one was obviously watching Keenan Cornelius do his nonsense.
Who?
Oh, Keenan, friend of the podcast.
Sorry, I get confused with all the names out there in jiu-jitsu.
Sorry.
They just get mixed in a sea of wash with me, but yeah.
Well, that's that.
And no one tried to tag team you in. No one was like, hey, Esparza, get in there.
Well, I think most people, especially when they see me at a jiu-jitsu tournament, just figure instead of fighting a person, I'm just going to do stand-up. Like they're gonna come and rush in for a single leg, and I'm gonna go, "What's the deal with single legs? Am I right?" God, this reminds
What is
me of
this? The Greco-Roman times? Yeah,
Oh,
I
was
can
that a
see
beer
you.
Embolo? Weird. Apparently somebody did.
I'd rather have a beer embolo, if you know what I
Right,
mean.
hey-o.
Hey.
It's actually a great joke. Sorry, that
Oh,
went down for later.
yeah, I was going to say. Somebody who gets credit for that?
I do.
And that would be just a fun stand-up versus jiu-jitsu fighter.
Yep. So
Not bad.
yeah,
Hey, we're more than just pretty faces. Well, I'm without question once again super jealous that you got to go to 5 and watch it. I didn't
you
get to see one yet.
shouldn't be too jealous because they're going to be traveling all around. They're actually, I think, every month going to be in a different state. The next one, I believe,
Awesome.
is in Vegas, and that is on the 29th of March. And that is all I know, but it goes everywhere else. And they're going to have a national championship in Miami, I believe, toward November of this year.
Welcome to Miami.
Benvenido a Miami.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
All
Shut
right.
up. Shut up. Shut up.
Okay.
Shut up.
Up shutted.
Great. We have breaking news.
No fucking way.
Yes, fucking way. We can now reveal the 2 coaches for TUF 20. That is right. The Ultimate Fighter Season 20. Would you like to know who they are?
Is it Tough Nations Part 2, Finland versus the
It is not.
Costa Rican Islands?
It is not Tough Nations.
Who are the upcoming coaches?
The upcoming coaches are Gilbert Melendez and Anthony Showtime Pettis.
Well, one of those guys I'm really excited about.
Why are you not excited about the other?
How dare you? Sorry, I thought you were going to say his name. I was like, well, I'm excited about Showtime Pettis. I'm not terribly excited about Mendez. I don't know.
I mean,
Is he good?
it sounds like a good.
It'll be.
If they fight, which they I guess should. Why not?
I think Benson would have probably been like a better tough coach. Just if you're picking a coach person with Mendez, I don't know.
Well, I mean, this
It's
is
fine. I
right
thought he was
after
headed over to Bellator. Where's he?
right after Gilbert was making a big fuss about his contract and how Dana said, fuck him. He doesn't need to be fucking here. Blah blah blah. He gets a contract from Bellator. They're offering him $250K, which the UFC has right to match, and they did. And he gets a spot as a coach on The Ultimate Fighter. So, wins all around.
Snaps. Well, okay. I mean, I'll watch it. I'm going to watch Showtime Pettis.
Yeah.
Put the hurtin' down.
The hurtin'.
Yeah. Great breaking news, Raf.
Thank you.
We'll look forward to your reviews of said TUF 20.
I'm looking forward to doing them.
Oh, the Ultimate Fighter. Almost old enough to drink. You ready to talk UFC 170?
Yes, let's do that.
Rafa Esparza UFC 170 is in the books. It's done. It literally, they can't redo it, even if they wanted to, man.
Dude, why do they
These
put it in the books? Who even reads books anymore, though?
I don't know, but that's what I heard they did.
Okay.
Not the world's most. I loved it. I thought it was high octane, and I'm the new president of Mike Pyle's fan club.
Okay. Why? See, I didn't,
I'm now
because I
president
was being very, very responsible in doing reporting on site. I didn't get the chance to watch the fights. So I'm relying on Kevin's not so great recollection of what happened.
Yeah, well, carrot cake can be a very powerful viewing. Look, I saw every fight, and I took detailed and copious notes
No, you
that
did
are.
not. That's
I will run you through the fights, and we're going to start up at the main card, and we're going to start at the top, Rousey versus McCann in Livergate 2014. Raf, let me ask you a question. Whenever somebody gets like hit internally or just gets punched in the face, do they ever reference the anatomy that specifically was rattled, like internally?
It depends on the caliber of the broadcaster.
Does anyone ever be like, oh, yeah, he got knocked out due to heavy brain contusion and impact?
Sometimes probably not well-educated people.
Never. They never do that. So Rousey lands a vicious knee. Just really deep and very hard. And McMahon goes down, holding her side, and everyone just was like, oh, it stops via strike to the liver. And that was it. That was pretty much the decision. It seemed a little premature. It was Herb Dean again, who looked a little gun shy, by the way. You could see it in his eyes.
Could you?
You could just see it. Yeah, he's nervous about things. Not a very entertaining fight.
Okay.
And that's how it ended.
Was it just that there was over so soon that it was not interesting, or that it was just kind of predictable? I mean, obviously, when I told people, because we had the results that we were reading, because the tournament was still going on, but we read the results to people, and everybody goes, who won? Who won? Who won? And we go, Ronda Rousey. Oh, of course she did. Of course she did. How? Not by armbar. What?
Everyone like goes back into slow motion.
We should
it's
remind
like,
everybody we were at a jiu-jitsu tournament. So hearing Ronda Rousey did end a fight via armbar was shocking news.
And she didn't, but she also didn't really get the chance.
Yeah.
She accidentally struck the liver.
Oops.
And they knew it instantly. That's exactly what happened. Not much to say about the fight, but we can't wait to see Ronda fight again, right?
Well, it depends on who, because Dana White after said that Kat Zagano is naturally the next in line, but she's had some bad things happen in her life between her knee and her husband, so
no shit.
They feel like she should be the next person to come in, but they're going to potentially see what's happening. The more interesting note is Dana said he is now interested in having Cyborg fight Ronda. And Ronda said in response to Cyborg's, I want to kill you, I want to eat your babies, blah, 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 all that stuff. She said, Cyborg knows where to find me. And I think they're potentially penciling in a maybe December date, or at least that's the one that Cyborg is trying to push in. So that'd be kind of fun to watch that.
That would be fun. And in the meantime, I'm going to pitch Sarah McMahon versus Miss Cupcake. Maybe let's find out who's the definitive 5th and 6th in this division before
Misha has another fight coming up very soon, so keep that in mind. She is fighting Liz Carmouche.
That's right. And that's another battle of I couldn't quite hang out with Ronda.
Sure.
Next fight, DC Cormier beats the shit out of Patrick Cummins.
Was that delightful to watch?
Well, it was fun. That's for damn sure. That's why I didn't have a problem with these fight cards, because it was like the exact, and maybe it's me because everyone loved last week's fights and didn't seem to enjoy these as much. But it was like, oh, I loved it. I watched you. It felt like Daniel Cormier could have danced around him for 3 minutes, but was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna mow this amateur down, and knocked the shit out of him.
I mean, it really brought to light, because I did see I want to say the last minute of the round, but I saw the minute of the round. And it was so awesome to watch DC just take it to this guy who was talking shit about him. And, we're all for having Patrick get a better life and a better career in the UFC. But I just thought the way that they were plugging it and promoting it was just not really interesting to me. And it made me actually jump on the DC bandwagon. And DC, yeah, he definitely finished that fight. Like, he was ready for Popeye's chicken backstage. Just as a note to everybody listening, this dude actually does love Popeye's chicken. And Popeye's chicken sent a bunch of food to him post-fight.
How do you know that without having been there or anything?
I pay attention.
Shut up. I read things. Anyway.
I have eyes, Kevin. One of us knows how to pay attention and the other one does not.
By the way, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I wish Popeyes would do that for me right now and any minute of the day. Just send me food for my accomplishments. So you sent a beautiful email this morning, Kevin.
Well, I don't
You
think they would
nailed it.
do that to you because you wouldn't really have much
Well, I'll just take
accomplishment
like a
in your
chicken
life.
strip basket then. Eat all the food.
Mm,
Yeah, I think Cormier. I think the bigger news about this fight is that Cormier is in line. And
no, I think he's exactly where he was before it. I don't think he
oh, I
moved up
agree
in the
with you
least.
there.
The one thing I
Yeah, I
thought
don't
of
think this helps him much.
when we were walking out and we were talking about the fights, and I was talking to somebody, and they go, "Oh, what do you think this means for Cormier?" I go, "Absolutely nothing. We're
Nothing.
back exactly to where we left off. This was just a filler fight."
What is he going to fight John Jones next? Probably not.
I mean, that's what he's hoping, but I
I'm
don't
just
know.
saying John Jones is fighting Glover Teixeira.
Yes, but I think he's willing to wait, and he's close. I don't know. Maybe they just decide they're like, "Fuck it, just send DC in."
I'll say this. Motherfucker didn't look skinny at 205. So I don't know if it wasn't. As we saw him last night, and I said the same thing you did. I was like, well, oh my God. Worst case scenario, he's no further apart than he is now. Like this doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things. So it didn't really. That was pretty much my take. And as they left to go, it was like, well, does he get the 205 spot permanently? Because he really shouldn't gain that weight back. He looks great.
Yeah, he definitely looked like he was hungry, but I mean, not just hungry for a title. I mean, hungry, but good for him, man. I'm happy for him. I'd love to see him advance. Like I said, I wasn't a huge DC fan until maybe this week, and I just got behind him, and I'm happy to see where he goes from here. And it'll be interesting to see what happens because Rashad Evans is out for 6 months now. So that's going to kind of blow.
But 6 months.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard the date yet.
Yeah.
Okay. Rory McDonald defeats Damian Maia in a horseshit decision. The decision was right. Rory McDonald won the fight. He won the last 2 rounds.
Okay.
Damian Maia was exhausted. But here's how the fight goes. It starts out, and this was one of the few decisions on the card. It starts out, and Rory McDonald is just getting really destroyed. Maia takes him down, gets control, has his back, takes a mount, is landing strikes from the mount, and then ends the round with his back. That's pretty much how the round goes. Mm-hmm. It spent, I'd say, 4 of 5 minutes on the ground. And you see Damian Maia had 5 minutes of control in the fight. That's how it goes. That's the end of the first round. If you're grading it on a round by round, how would you score that with that description?
Probably the right way.
Rory landed a few strikes, I think. Maybe 1 or 2 in before they went down. But then when they went down, which Maia took him down, he then held him down, took the mount, took the back. That's, in my opinion, Maia would win that round. Well, they had a 3-0 decision, like a unanimous decision for Rory McDonald. Wow. It was ridiculous.
Wow.
It was like, wait, and I'm sitting here telling you, Rory McDonald won the fight.
Yeah.
He absolutely destroyed him in the second and third rounds.
You just
very nearly, like,
that.
Can't believe he didn't knock him out.
Win it with the right number.
Well, yeah, and it was just one of those, what? Who watched that first round and thought, yeah, Rory won it? It was just he didn't do anything. He was on his back. He was getting the
sleepy during a round, and you just go, I'm going to take this one off. What? He won most of the fight? He won.
You know what? That's probably the most
when you're a
likely
judge
answer.
And you're just like, judging's hard. Nap time.
You're making me feel better about this because I was fucking fuming. Andrew was more pissed than I was when I watched the fight.
Your instructor,
Andrew Correa,
and good friend.
Andrew Correa from BJJ Finder. Nicely done.
Thank you.
And my instructor, yeah.
Well, speaking of your gym, there was somebody from your gym, I think it was Rob, that said,
Rob Acree,
worst card ever. Really glad I didn't pay for this.
Yeah, Rob's hyperbolic. I think he might have. First of all, he admitted to piracy because he saw the card, but then said he didn't pay for it.
Oh, no.
Second, I know.
I love this character assassination you just did on him on our public broadcast.
Second, he tends to be just a little hyperbolic and quick to social media trigger. But he's not wrong. I mean, they weren't great fights. So it wasn't the worst card. It was not a good card, though.
Okay. Well,
it was just quick.
I mean, you're going to have to deal with him, so That's fine.
Yeah, I know. And if you've ever rolled with Rob, you're intimately familiar with what I call forehead pressure, which just really hurts.
No, thank you.
It's not fun. Next, I'm now officially president, as I mentioned, of Mike Pyle's fan club. I can't imagine there's anyone else, but I'll look on Twitter. Mike Pyle is 38 years old. Did you know that?
38 years young.
38. He looks like a 19-year-old, which is awesome. But he's out there beating the shit out of TJ Waldberger.
Good for him.
Wins in the third round via TKO.
I mean, his fights are frantic and ridiculous, so I don't disbelieve that.
Which is exactly how this fight was. It was high action, a lot of striking. Oh, God. This fight also had one of the most gorgeous submission to defense strings I've seen in the UFC.
Yeah.
It was gorgeous.
Describe it to me.
Get a chance to watch. I really can't. Like, it's hard to octane it out. It essentially transitioned from like Pyle was on top trying to make a pass to he got swept, and then he ended up trying to like shoot a triangle from the opposite position. It got very hard to follow. But if there's a fight you want to go back and watch, it's this one.
Sweet.
This was fight of the night, in my opinion. It was the only one that was competitive. That's for damn sure. And it was a ton of fun.
That's awesome.
So Mike Pyle's my man.
I love it.
He joins Anthony Showtime Pettis and Carlos Condit.
That's a good company to be in.
Right? I'm sure they'll welcome him with open arms. Whitaker got knocked the fuck out by Stephen Thompson, which was right after I was making fun of Stephen Thompson. Because he came in like a karate gi. And I was like, oh, God, look out. And then it turned out he was a kickboxer and a badass. So apologies. And I would like to take that comment back when I mocked his entry gi. And I apologize. Nicely done, Wonder Boy.
Well,
Nicely
those things
done,
happen. You do make mistakes like that. But, I'm glad that you're able to recognize that.
I do want to mention from the undercard, Alexis Davis versus Jessica Ai. That fight was fucking amazing and competitive and had every element of fighting. It had a lot of jiu-jitsu, had a lot of stand-up, a lot of pressure. Awesome fight. The rest were just kind of,
So-so.
You can see just kind of got washed out. Rafael Asuncao won, which I thought you would appreciate because it's Rafael.
I did, but it was tough to see him beat Pedro, who is our friend from Systems Training Center, who you have to say is pretty amazing that he would come in, take a guy who's that well ranked at the last minute, and still do okay.
It was a good fight. It wasn't like, I don't mean to diminish it. It just didn't have a lot of competition at the end. Asuncia sort of had control, but it was a good fight.
Sweet.
I agree, especially on short notice, because that shit's nuts.
Yep.
Aljamain Sterling wins a decision, and I just like saying his name. Aljamain. Josh Sampo got you can see where I don't like decisions, and a lot of the undercard was decisions. Savalas Makavatsky. Eric Koch won, and I feel like he's fought on every single card for the last 19. He beat Rafaelo Oliveira, so goodbye, Raf.
It's not a
Voting
real
against
Rafael
Team
name,
Raf
though.
split you. Yeah, but kinda. And Chavez won by decision.
Cool.
Against Bubba's kind of Russian nemesis counterpart.
Did you, as an overall feel, what would you grade that pay-per-view?
Ooh, the pay-per-view?
They say the entire card.
A C.
Okay.
Like a C exactly. Not a C plus. I do a plus minus system in my grading scale. I'd say a C.
Okay.
Because at least it was quick. It's one thing to be boring. It's another thing to be at least quick. So you cannot say these fights were boring because they went so quickly.
Got it. Good to know.
UFC 170. Great stuff. Ton of fun. I had a blast watching. Marcus and Karen came over with Jerry and Andrew. We had a ton of fun.
That's awesome. But it wouldn't truly be a UFC 170 recap unless we were to check in on the results of Under Over Kevin. And in order to do that, I think we need to have Bubba McDaniel back on the podcast. Welcome, Bubba McDaniel.
Woo-hoo! Once again, I'm back.
Bubba, you watched yesterday's fights, correct?
I did watch yesterday's fights, but I was actually working while I was going on. I got called in to, do some more security work at Ojos Locos in Albuquerque.
Hey, man, nobody's going to hate on you making money. So when you're doing that, though, when you say you saw the fights, you were also working, how does that happen?
I sit at the back door, make sure nobody goes in or out of it, and watch the fights and make sure that there's none on the floor.
Now we're talking. Yeah.
I love it.
As a former non-professional bouncer, I got a lot of sports in as well while I was bouncing.
I love that Kevin likes to talk as if he was part of the industry with any significance.
Yeah. I'm just saying Bubba and I are the same. That's all
you
I'm
are not,
saying.
because...
we're exactly the same in the sense that you'd be the guy standing behind me going, yeah, right?
We talked about this. I'm definitely not the instigative type.
And also, Bubba, we need to get your response before we get the results. I believe this will happen a little later in the podcast, but I believe you were called as the girlfriend of the house.
He was very clear that it's not very serious.
I'm a white girlfriend's girlfriend?
Ooh.
Not what he just said. You're a girlfriend.
Yes.
In your two's relationship.
I'm not a girlfriend. What the fuck are you talking about?
You're pretty much my girlfriend.
I'm not your goddamn girlfriend. You're my girlfriend. I told you. No, your dog. Your dog is your girlfriend. Okay. I mean, like that. No. No. That is It's a true story. That is not a true story. What is a true story? Calling me babe and I'm the girlfriend? You're crazy. My girlfriend. No.
Kevin, our work here is done.
Yeah, that was perfect. That breaking furniture sound that you're gonna hear shortly. That's just us pitching
that
TLC.
Dog right there is your girlfriend. You cuddle with her. I go to my own bed, okay? Thank you very much. I just said you're close to you're as close to my girlfriend as you get. No, that dog is as close to your girlfriend as it gets. We're buddies. Listen, I know you're getting naked together. There is a girl involved. Just saying, there's girls involved. I mean, there's a girl usually in the middle, but she's not my girlfriend.
If you're just joining us right now, you're hearing the voices of Bubba McDaniel and Frankie Lister, who are now just basically arguing over who's the woman in their relationship. So don't worry.
I'm waiting for the sound of a phone ringing with Bravo or FX on the other side. Just
it's cool.
We don't do another thing until we get a camera crew there.
Kevin and I reserve all producing rights.
People don't realize listening to your podcast is all gold, especially when you call it Casa de la Smash.
Fair. Yeah, we might buy you a home phone just so we have a better connection into that location.
I do love calling them at random and just starting fights with them. It's just like, did you not hear this is what Bubba said?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Or just call in and be like, Frankie said you left the trash out and that you're a douchebag.
Oh yeah, dude, I don't do trash and I don't do dishes.
See?
Frankie cooks and then he does the dishes. I eat it. Frankie goes in here and I keep the house clean enough, like for on my end of things. But here's the thing: there was never anything left on the coffee table. There was never anything like on the counters, anything. So I get back here, dude. Right now, there's one empty bottle, an empty glass, an empty mug, a damn laptop, a freaking iPad, keys, money. Bottle caps, all kind of crap, just on the coffee table. And the coffee table alone was clean. And he says that I'm the dirty bitch.
That's exhausting.
This is gonna be a show.
This is
all right, Raf.
Let's get to the results.
Who won?
Okay, Bubba, do you give us odds? Do you think that you won this?
I'm pretty damn sure I won.
Now, why do you think you won?
Says I won. Frankie Lester wins.
Okay.
Chiming in nowhere, as always.
I like that. I love that this is ruining all the magic of us recording first with Frankie and then with Bubba, because this will appear first in the podcast. But that's okay, people. We're just glad to have these two jokers on our podcast.
Like a simple memento.
Damn be to logistics. Bubba, I can tell you one thing right now. What would winning mean to you?
Winning would be dominance over Kevin once again. which means that he would be my girlfriend in this scenario.
Ouch. Kevin, what do you have to say to that?
I'd really like to win because I can't physically fly to Albuquerque to piss on their house and let them know that I have ownership in this relationship.
Hey, did you
because
tell
that's
them
just
about
how
being
I
on the
do.
neighbor's door?
Nope.
Oh my God, it's funny you said that. He said he wanted to pee on our house. Frankie, literally the first week I lived here. He tells me to film him while he walks across the hallway and pisses on the neighbor's door. Then the neighbor comes out while he's doing this, and he continues. And now she comes over and hangs out. It's really awkward how it happened, but yeah.
It's a perfect intro.
It's a housewarming gift. It's really
all right, Raf. Who's cutting a wrestling promo for who here?
That was the stakes. I have news for you, Kevin.
Yeah.
You are not the winner.
God damn it! Are you kidding? I really lost.
Bubba won with a correct 7 picks versus Kevin's 4 picks that were correct out of many more fights. I will not embarrass Kevin by saying how many fights were on the card, but I will say this, gentlemen. It was not even close.
Oh, fuck you.
It's okay.
Fuck.
However, it should also be noted that Bubba actually was the only one of the two of you to get one correct pick on the fight of the night or the performance of the night, because Bubba went for Thompson and noted he would be given a performance of the night bonus, and he was.
Okay.
So Bubba,
I'll start working on his goddamn video.
Bubba, what does this mean for Kevin, and what would you like to see out of this video?
I would like to see lots of flair, like body flair, things along, like a good costume. I need a good promo cut. I need hand movement, sunglasses, weird hats, strings on his arms like the Ultimate Warrior. Things, along those lines. It needs to be great, and it needs to make absolutely no sense.
Oh, well, okay.
Okay. I was never worried.
Mission
about
accepted.
That.
Mission accepted.
And Kevin, what can you preview for us in terms of how your promo will sound?
I think it's going to involve a Yeti costume and some exhibition of what the Bubbasaurus stomp would look like.
Oh, so is that the finisher you have right there?
Yeah, that's it. There's your teaser.
Interesting.
There you go. The Bubbasaurus stomp. I kind of like that. That'd be cool.
It's not bad. I would like to say congratulations.
The Bubba stomp.
Bubba, you actually had a percentage of, I believe, about 55-60% accuracy.
Yeah, on strikes. It's not bad, huh?
That's not bad. It's above a...
It's probably the first passing grade he's received in quite some time. Nailed it!
Mr. Funny Guy.
I love
that was good. Fuck you.
I was about to say, I was like, Casa de la Smash was not impressed by that joke.
We're going to have to talk to Bubba again. We need to make this more.
We will. And Bubba, I want to say on a very real note, yesterday I was at 5 Grappling. I saw Colin Hart there, and the first person who jumped to mind was call Bubba or text him for some things to talk to Colin. And we got a great interview out of him because of you.
Yeah, I figured the things that I was telling you were things that he would just automatically like drop his jaw, like, oh, he really let that out.
And this is the way I dropped it on him. I just go, by the way, one of your friends texted me some questions to ask you. And he's just like, in his true Colin way, just goes, yeah, sure. Yeah, let's do it. And we're 2 seconds into talking, and I go, Bubba McDaniel sent the following questions, and you just see him start to smile. And I ask him the questions, and I swear to God, after the first one, you saw his eyes just like go, because it was about, Bubba says, ask him about killing babies and his obsession with it. And he just looks and he realizes he has to put that into words. It was immaculate. So
I can't wait to see
Bubba
it.
really has been an all-star for the podcast this week, and we can't thank you enough, my man.
Yeah, Bubba, you're winning.
Worries.
At Bubba the Menace on Twitter. Follow this man. Thank you so much, Bubba.
No worries, y'all. Hey, man, did you send my love to Colin at least? Tell him that it was all good?
I definitely did, and he sent it right back, man. He was so good, and I think he won one of his divisions or something like that. He ended up with the championship belt, so he did very well. But he was very happy to hear that, and it was mutual.
Yeah, that dude's a stout grappler. It was amazing to grapple with him at different times. You know, whenever you go into the skill of just grappling, like that dude's stout. It's pretty crazy.
The one thing I thought that was a little nerve-wracking when you said he created his own submission was when I asked him about it. I knew the next step was going to be him showing it on me, so I was a little hesitant.
I was like worried that was going to get out whenever they created that first prank on us in the house, man. You saw his mode flip. It was so crazy for a second. Because, like, we were calling him the Collins for a little bit, like, you know, making a joke. And then all of a sudden one day he just goes, you know, there's no S on my name, right? And we all, like, looked at him like, oh, crap, he's really noticed. And he's like, yeah. But he had that, like, don't ever do that again look in his eye, and we were all like, okay, don't do that again.
Love it.
We will not call you the Collins.
That's awesome. No, man, it was good times, and I'm glad you were able to help out even on that. That was awesome.
No worries. Yeah, I got love for my boys back at Team Jones, TUF 17. Even the Team Dark Side, got love for guys on there too.
It's good stuff, my man.
Always a pleasure. Bubba the Menace McDaniel. Oh, always fun to talk to Bubba, and now that we've alerted the hell out of it.
Yes.
Should we bring on Frankie the Tank Lester, who obviously we talked about a little bit after, which gives you guys just the perfect amount of preview into what's about to happen.
Yeah, it's really odd. Think of it as we came back from the future to give you this part of our podcast.
Oh, that's a fucking great verbal tap to the future.
Mm-hmm. That'll be a great episode.
Great Raf! Verbal Tap fans, we have with us, and we have Frankie the Tank Lester. Frankie, you come with a it's kind of a high endorsement. It's Bubba the Menace McDaniel endorsement. How are you doing this evening, Frankie?
I'm doing good, man. That's a lot of praise for Bubba.
Yeah, I think he just likes your nickname, the Tank, personally.
So Bubba's my roommate, if you guys didn't know. We literally live together. He's pretty much my girlfriend, in a sense. He's just the
what sense?
Girlfriend
just
I've
to be
ever had.
clear, I was okay.
Okay, good. Good step one.
The fact that he has a penis really ruins our relationship, too.
You know, it's the 21st century. You gotta stay open. Frankie, did you get the nickname the Tank before or after the movie Old School?
That's a good question. I want to say after. When did Old School come out?
Stop answering with other questions because I don't know. So,
you know what? I can't really be certain. I got the nickname in 2007. So if Old School was before that,
it would be.
Old School's 2003.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Will Ferrell, you win again.
I just like to think that you were doing MMA and also chugging beer. They were like, we got to call this motherfucker the Tank for a lot of reasons.
I mean, I still do that. Anybody who knows me knows. Okay, a great friend of mine, you might know him, Mark Miller. He was actually on The Ultimate Fighter with me. He's one of my roommates in the house. And we used to drink at night. And, like, we wouldn't get hammered or anything, but, you know, it was hard in the house. So we'd have a beer or two. And all the Brits would, like, talk shit and be like, man, why are you guys, like, drinking and training? And Mark Miller, he just used to say, if you can't drink and fight, you can't fight.
That's a good
You know
point.
what I'm saying? Like,
That's a fucking great T-shirt, too.
If
Yeah.
you can't be a man and drink some beers at night trying to relax and then wake up the next day and go beat somebody's ass, then you just can't beat anybody's ass no matter what.
What did our forefathers fight for if we can't drink beer and fight?
Absolutely. We're men
What?
after all.
Damn
Yeah,
it.
Frankie, I should mention you were on TUF Season 9. That's the part of the intro. Frank, you're also fighting on April 19th in Birmingham, Alabama. People can catch it on Go Fight Live, or if you're in Birmingham, go watch the fights.
Especially
You're
if you're
returning-
a hot chick in the Birmingham, Alabama area, you definitely want to come watch the fight, as I am single. Just going to throw that out there.
Absolutely. Let me clarify, especially hot chicks in the Birmingham area. You're going to want to head on down. And if you're listening to the podcast, don't forget to shoot us an email. Say hello.
And also, I
Big
like the
boobs,
idea that
round butts.
there's also a dudes with money don't come see me fight part of this plug that you're doing. That's also coming right after you said, no, Bubba McDaniel is my wife. I don't think you guys understand. He is definitely shacked up with me. So,
well, hold on. You're boosting our relationship up one notch more than it is. I said he is my girlfriend, not my wife.
Oh.
So if he shaved the beard, we could talk. You know.
Well, that's the ultimate deal breaker between the two of you. Just a stalemate after dinner every night. You just go, unless you shave that beard, I am not putting out for you.
I like to think it's more passive aggressive. You just put your head down to your like salmon crickets and you're like, I see you kept the beard again today. Message received.
So, Frankie,
pretty much.
Talk to us about your experience on the Ultimate Fighter 9. You know, Kevin and I are huge fans. That's how we actually ended up meeting Bubba, was because we mock the Ultimate Fighter as much as we can with good ribbing and roasting. But for you, you know, describe what your experience was like to people who have never been on the show. And let's be real, probably won't.
Yeah. My route to TUF was, I think, very unique in the sense that I'd only been training. I'd only found the sport like 18 months before that. And I got out of the military in 2006, right? And I moved from Germany.
I like that you're asking me.
What?
Yes. I like that you were asking me. You're like, I got out in that year, right? Yeah, yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Was it 3 years after Old School was made? Because if so, yes, it was absolutely 2006.
And I moved to San Diego, and I was bouncing at a bar downtown, and they still love to hit everybody who got out of line. You know, as a bouncer, you're not really supposed to hit them. You're supposed to just kind of snatch them up, choke them a little bit, and throw them out the back door. I just figure punching them in the side of the head is a better tactic. You know, you punch them in the side of the head.
I was
a
bouncer, by the way.
Drag them out. What's that?
Yeah, you took a more Patrick Swayze approach to bouncing. I took a more, I have zero ambition to even talk to the guys. I mostly use it as a way to just like look tough and meet women.
I'm really glad that we learned that this is how Kevin would just talk to the guys. Like, guys, come on, please leave.
Hey,
be cool for all of us.
Dickheads, there is a blonde outside that I want to get back to, and if you two keep being a-holes, so I'm saying you and I should start bouncing together. We'd be the perfect team.
Okay, yeah. So I'll be the enforcer, and you're gonna have to go out and market our sexual palace.
That's right. I'll find people that look like Bubba but shaved, and my particular proclivities. But I'm sorry. Yes, you like to hit people, and you were like, I should do this for a living.
No. So my coworker, this kid Jason Westling, who is he's a Navy EOD diver and a pro MMA fighter, was like, dude. No, you sure do like to hit people. Well, you should come to the gym, so we can see how tough you are. And I was like, yeah, bro, whatever. I'll come to this gym. I was one of those dudes. I thought I was tough, So I'll come to that gym. What's up? And the gym was Undisputed North Park in San Diego. And at the time, the pro team consisted of Brandon Vera, Wade Ship, Dominic Cruz, War Machine, Toby Imada, Ed Ratcliffe. And I got taken into it. A certain Jason took me to sparring with these dudes. And I had never trained before in my life. Okay? And I just took these ass whoopings from like Toby Imada and War Machine and Gary Padilla and Brandon. And afterwards, I mean, I just got my ass whooped, and this dude, Wade Ship, used to be in the UFC a long time ago, still trains with Brandon. But he comes over to me and he puts his hand on me and he's like, "Bro, you're not very good, but you're a tough motherfucker." I don't think I've ever seen anybody take that much damage in sparring before. And I immediately fell in love with the sport right then. And I was
That's
like,
a compliment.
That is great.
I'm going to fucking get good at this. Like, this is what I want to do. And that was like early 2007, I believe. And I ended up making it on the show at the end of 2008, and we actually started filming in like January of 2009, like right at the beginning of the new year. So like I went on the show 3-2, and my first 2 pro fights I fought at 205. It was just like this ginormous meathead who like didn't know anything. But I took like a jiu-jitsu black belt to a decision. You know, I lost, but you know, considering I'd never trained, it's a pretty good step. And I finally started to cut the weight down, and I fought at 185 and won. And then I won like 3 in a row, and then I ended up taking a short notice fight against Lance Evans, who's on TUF 7. I took it literally on 24 hours notice, and it was because I was getting like evicted out of my apartment, and they were like, "Oh, if you come, we'll give you $4,000, but you got to be on a fight in like 6 hours." And I was like, "Oh, deal." Like, what's up? I'm like, "How much?" Cool. That's a lot of blowing hookers right there.
Yeah.
That's a great
I could pay
manager.
rent, and I could pay rent and have like a real party.
No, but
So-
that's going to be a
Super
great
party.
manager you
I
have
mean-
right there that breaks that down for you in blowing hookers. It's like, well, I could tell you in dollars or our usual currency, blowing hookers.
I choose blowing hookers. I choose blowing hookers.
I mean, he's like, that's about, you could get like 3 8-balls and 3 hookers. And I was like, and pay my rent? He's like, yep. I was like, deal, let's go.
Sign
And,
me up.
I took that kid I was telling you about, that dude Wade Ship, the heavyweight. I took him as my corner because I called War Machine and I was like, hey, I just got off of this fight, but we got to leave in like 6 hours in Albuquerque against this kid, Lance Evans. He's some big black guy. But Ryan said I can go beat him up and take his lunch money. And he was like, no, you're an idiot. You're not ready. And I wasn't. I was like working in a strip club in San Diego at Hustler Club, and like I was single and like having sex with as many strippers as I could.
Absolutely.
Unprotected, of course, you know.
Perfect. That's the hey, there's only one sure way. That's it.
And so I called Wade and was like, dude, we come? He's like, yeah, why not? Dude, we flew out there. By the way, I didn't know about elevation. I didn't realize we were like going up into a mountain, and didn't find out until right before my fight when the co-main event ended and the dude came in the locker room like, this elevation's killing me. I was like, what's that? He's like, we're at like 5,000 feet. I was like, what does that mean? He's like, the air's a lot thinner up here. You're going to gas really fast. And I was like, oh, cool. I haven't trained anyway. It should be all right.
That's perfect. I haven't been preparing, so I should be fine.
And everybody in the locker room is just looking at me like, what? And Wade's like, bro, we're not going to warm up because you haven't even like trained in a couple weeks. So you just need to go out there and just try and take him out as soon as possible. And so the fight starts. By the way, he was like, the fight was supposed to be at 205, but he didn't even have to weigh in because I just got there like a couple hours before the fight. And he looked about 225, 230, and I'm like 190 with my clothes on. And dude, and the cage was like 6 feet around. It was like smaller than my living room. And dude, I just looked across and there was this ginormous black dude standing across from me with like Rashad Evans and Keith Jardine and Greg Jackson in his corner. And it's just like me and my skinhead friend behind me. And
whose main advice up until this point has been don't warm up. That's been his big contribution.
That's it. He's like, you're just going to go out there and beat this motherfucker's ass. And I was like, yeah, hell yeah. He's like, because if you beat his ass, that's $2,000 more, which means how many more 8-balls? And I was like, yeah, bro, and we're going to need those 8-balls when we get out of here. And I was like, all right. So
focus.
The fight starts,
I'm in.
out. The fight starts. I come out. Lance punches. I go for this lazy leg kick. I guess he punched me in the face really hard because I woke up a little while after that just on my back with this ginormous black guy just hammer fisting my face, and everything was really warm, and I finally started to get up and realized, like, one of us had a ginormous hole in their face because there was blood everywhere, and then I realized it was my blood. And so then I started freaking out a little bit, and he tried to go for a standing guillotine, which is a bad idea because they just don't work unless you're like John Jones. And I just got all crazy and started kneeing the shit out of him. And the first round ended, and in between rounds, I was completely exhausted. My corner looked at me, and he goes, "You have no more cardio to do this." He's like, "I'm going to give you 30 seconds to go out there. When they say fight, you run at him, you fucking scream, and you knock that motherfucker out right now." He goes, "We got no more time and no more cardio. Go knock him out right now." And I was like, "Yeah, fuck yeah." And then he just started, like, we started headbutting each other. It was fucking ridiculous. And so they say fight, and I like screamed like Bruce Lee. I was like, "Yeah!" And I ran at him and like threw like a flying dropping kick, some shit, and he ran away, and I caught him with a big punch, and I kneed him in the face until he went down. And that was it. And I won that fight.
You win this fight. You win it
And I
by...
won.
It says
I won it by
TKO
being-
punches.
Yes. I won it by being a crazy motherfucker in the second round. And, yeah, dude. So, like, that was, what, are you looking at that fight? Like, what date that was? That was, like, I want to say October.
September 27th, 2008.
2008,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, it
so
says
check
the
it out.
WP Warpath.
Yeah, I got a phone call, like, about 4 weeks after that, and they were like, it was somebody from TUF Productions, and they were like, "Hey, this is whoever from TUF Productions. We're having tryouts in Chicago at the UFC 90, like that, the build up to that throughout the week." And that was like Anderson Silva, Patrick Cote headline that, because I went the next day. So they called me and they were like, "You should come to the tryouts. We heard about you." And I was like, "All right, cool." So me and my Muay Thai coach and my friend Chris Cope, who ended up making it on seasons later, we flew out there. And sure enough, they like, I made it through all this stuff, and they took me to interviews, and they started talking to me, and they're like, "Oh, wait, you're that kid who beat up Lance." And they were like, "Yeah."
By the way, I'm also staring at a picture of Lance, and he looks like a lot of hookers and cocaine. I mean, he's a big
Totally.
dude.
Yo, he's huge. And like, if you see me and you see him, like, it was a heavyweight versus a welterweight, that fight. It was like the biggest setup ever. I mean, he was the fact that he didn't knock me out in about 3 seconds is extremely sad on his part. And I don't think he's fought since then, has he?
Well, I was just about to say, I was like, you were his last fight until April 08, 2011. He lost, and that's been it. And
So
this has probably been the most anyone has talked about Lance Evans' fight career in a decade. Like, this has got to be the most.
I mean, yeah, he just didn't have the heart for it, and I think I kind of beat that out of him in that second round, because I mean, he literally whooped my ass the entire first round, and I think he's like, "Oh my God, how's this kid not dead?" Like, I was bleeding everywhere. But, you know, some people have heart and some people don't, and some people have skill, which I don't. So I have to have heart, or else I'm just fucked, aren't I?
So this, by the way, you should have a show on Showtime called Old Cool Fight Stories. Frankie Lester. And Raf and I can produce that. He knows about all those other things, and I'll just sit there and laugh if that works. You're fighting, you sort of progress, you're in TUF 9, and of course you have the crazy moment where you lose a tooth in your mouth guard, and then you are super pissed because they can't get your tooth out of the mouth guard and you want to keep fighting, which is genius. Talk to us about your getting back in the cage on 419, training with Jackson, and what this last year has sort of been like for you, fighting-wise.
Okay. So I moved out here to Albuquerque last April. So it's coming up on a year.
training-wise, it was the best move I've made in a long time. Albuquerque itself isn't the greatest place to be, but
what? All
but,
7 people that live in Albuquerque that might listen to this are going to be super pissed.
But green chili burritos are amazing, and if you like
there you go.
amazing people watching and retards everywhere, this is the place to live.
Woo!
Nobody knows how to drive. Everybody's hammered half the time. Greg Jackson really is a real-life Yoda, except he's extremely funny. He's got a really weird sense of, like, dry sense of humor, but, like, he's probably the funniest coach I've ever had.
Kevin and I are enamored by his sense of humor because we get when he's being super dry, but he's also the guy who yells out, "Go get some Donald Cerrone!" And
he's our favorite corner.
And he finds new ways to entertain us where we're just like, okay. And everybody who we've talked to from Jackson's, you know, be it Tim Kennedy, be it Bubba, always has a great Greg Jackson story. Do you have a funny story or example of him yelling out some nonsense or something that you're like, what the shit? Or is it just, I don't know. There's got to be some.
Totally. By the way, Tim Kennedy, biggest bully ever. He loves to punch me in the face. Like, he literally, I'm pretty sure he daydreams at times when he's really bored about beating up Frank Lester. And he probably does it, like, in that same wig and outfit he was wearing during his Katy Perry video. That guy's a genetic freak, and he's awesome, but he's an asshole in the gym because he loves to beat my face. Greg Jackson, dude, so, all right, I mean, and this is just, like, one little example, and this happens every day. So, like, we were doing wrestling last week, and, you know, we're going over, like, how to get out of the clinch and, like, a shoulder bump to hike up the arm to get the underhook. And he just randomly stops me, like, so we're drilling, and he goes, all right, everybody stop. We're all making the same mistake. He goes, let's make a circle. And he gets the whole team in a circle, right? And he's like, he just, like, spreads his legs, puts his arm out straight, and, like, just starts, like, shivering his limbs. And he's like, this is just like you guys do in the club. It's like the Harlem Shake. And he just starts shaking his ass and, like, he's doing, like, the black girl booty dance. And he's like, that's all we're going to do. That's all we're going to do. And then he grabs Damasio Page by the back of the head. And he's like, I'm going to grab Damasio. I'm going to hit my Harlem Shake. I'm going to hike up that underhook. And I'm going to double leg the fuck out of him. And, dude, I'm, like, dying laughing. I can't even take him seriously. But he's fucking dead serious. You know, he's like, just Harlem Shake that shit to get that underhook. And I'm like, dude.
The dumbest part
what
about
is
it
wrong
is,
with this guy? But he's hilarious.
the dumbest part about that is I see what that does. Like, now that I think about it, and I would have never thought about it before, but I'm like, no, I guess that is a good way to fucking get rid of that. Holy fuck. What's wrong with this man?
I was just busy taking notes. Google Harlem Shake, double leg, got it. Okay.
And it's like that every day, man. Every day he teaches, it's like he just finds, like, the right analogy that works for the meathead retards that we are. He knows how to relay this information to us in a way we can understand, like the Harlem Shake or the black girl booty dance, you know, or he's like Miley Cyrus twerk that shit. You know what I'm saying? When you're trying to get out of the ankle lock, he's like, we're going to roll. He's like, we're going to roll. We're going to stick our other foot up their bum bum, and then we're going to twerk. And you're like, what? Like, but seriously, like, if you are in that neutral position and they have your ankle, you take the one foot, you put the big toe up his butt, you roll stomach down, and then you twerk your booty, and then all of a sudden you're out. It's kind of genius.
Genius. No, I mean, God, the method to his madness is so, it sounds insane. Like, if it was any other person, maybe even any other sport, but it all makes sense here. We've always joked that we want to interview him, obviously, at some point, but I've always thought that he needs to be on my sidelines as an interview coach. because I feel like he would be like whispering. He'd be like, "Now, Raf, you gotta really commit to this question.
Raf, ask him about his personal life. Get in there.
Get in there. Just
get in there.
It's yours. The interview's all yours. Live it."
And if you ask a great question, he's going to be like, "Yes, sir, Rafa Sparza. Yes, sir. That was a great question." That's what we hope it's always
One
like.
day.
I hope he's always like that at like the grocery store. If he just likes the beer you ordered, I hope he's always doing it.
Yeah, he's a good dude. And then you got like, but who knows the sport. Like, it's not just Greg Jackson. Like, Mike Winkeljohn is like the head stand-up coach, and that dude is equally as funny in a different way. But like the combination of the two, man, it's like they're without a doubt. And I've worked with a bunch of good coaches. I've worked with Hendo and a bunch of other people, and like they're the best coach combo ever. These two. So,
I like that he got a 2-for-1 with Winkeljohn, where he got both a stand-up coach and a stand-up coach.
Wait, what?
I like that with Winkeljohn, he actually got a 2-for-1 with a stand-up coach for stand-up fighting and stand-up comedy.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he got both.
That's pretty sweet.
Awesome.
We've heard nothing but great things for that training camp. Now, how does that translate for your fighting style now? I know the last year was crazy for you, but I know that training in that camp, from what we've seen for fighters, has brought fighters to a different caliber. You want to talk to us about that with your experience?
Yeah, sure. I think what I think sets Jackson's apart from other gyms that I've been to is the culmination. One, like we were talking about, you have the two coaches, and then there's other coaches that are coming up underneath them, like Mike Valley and Coach Gibson. And then you got guys who come through, coaches like Ricky Wendell for wrestling. And it's just like, dude, you have all these amazing people that gravitate here. And it's just like, it opens your mind. And like, at least for my stand-up, I'm more of a striker. Let's talk about my stand-up. Like, coming here, I've gotten so many more ideas and tools to use that are just so unorthodox. Like working with guys like Carlos Condit, man. Like, you see the things and the combinations he's throwing. Like, nobody else in the game is throwing those combinations.
They're
and like,
so
it's
creative.
It's the culmination of Mike Valley and Mike Winkeljohn and Coach Gibson and Greg. And all four of them are always working and collaborating with their minds about, how can we evolve our striking? How can we evolve our game? Like, it's just, I haven't seen that anywhere else in the country where I've trained. And I've trained at a lot of the major teams at some point. And I definitely feel like my stand-up's at a whole different level. And being around guys like, like I said, like Cowboy Carlos, John Jones, me and Bubba's my damn roommate. Like, we're always like bouncing things off each other and trying to, upgrade our striking. So I just think it's a very unique setting here. And you can't ask for anything better, honestly.
I will ask, though, when you say that you and Bubba are roommates, does training ever carry over to the house?
Well, we call it Casa de la Smash for a reason, but it's usually because, like the Smash Girls together.
Yes.
And we call each other, we're the Bash Brothers. And, like, girls don't come, like, ladies, don't come to Casa de la Smash if you don't plan on getting naked, straight up. And we've had those. We've had them come over, and they think that we're joking, and we're not joking. Like, this is an enter on your own free will establishment.
It says it on the mailbox. Don't come in unless comfortable with nudity. The mail lady has agreed.
I just really hope you have a welcome mat that says that. Makes things very clear. By stepping on here, you consent to stripping naked.
There's a little sign-in booth. It's an iPad, obviously. I mean, it's the 21st century, but you sign in on the way in.
Actually, our motto for our house is on the door, and it says, "The struggle is real." And by the struggle, we're talking about the struggle snuggle.
and that happens here.
Is the struggle snuggle like a wrestling match but more intimate? Because that's what it sounds like. What's the struggle snuggle?
Yes.
The struggle snuggle means, they can fight it, but they're going to get snuggled. Okay?
Okay. That's good.
Fight it all you want, ladies. It's going down.
Oh, good stuff. You fight on the 19th. Who are you fighting?
I'm fighting. All right, I'm going to ruin this kid's name.
Not that it
Suzuki?
matters.
Suzuki Zapata.
I think that's a motorcycle.
That's both
I don't
Asian
think
and
I-
Mexican, so it's very confusing.
No, dude. I swear I think
He's
like
Viet
Brazilian
Rican.
Japanese or something.
Interesting.
And he's really tall and skinny, and he's a southpaw, which basically means I'm going to body kick him to death.
Sweet.
And he's probably stupid for fucking with an American on American soil. Like, you shouldn't fuck with
You don't
me,
do it.
but you're going to. And I'm going to kick his ass, make some money, and then hopefully fuck his girlfriend.
Sweet. That's a good list.
Hey. There's no hopefully on this podcast, sir. You speak in absolutes.
Especially when you evoke
Kick his ass
America
and fuck
in
his
it.
girlfriend.
That's right.
If you evoke America into this conversation, you better be fucking her on behalf of America. please.
We're going to put a little USA tat on your way out.
Kevin and I are going to record a USA chant that we demand be played as you are sealing the deal.
It's a combination of Lee Greenwood's USA and the national anthem. It's tasteful, though.
I was actually going Neil Diamond's America, but we can talk
Absolutely.
about that.
Third track.
I mean, I thought it would only be fitting to blast Sweet Home Alabama.
In Alabama, yeah. Of course.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
know?
I just didn't know if you were taking her back to the... Oh, go ahead.
I got a question. Are you guys on Snapchat?
Yes. I'm nervous, though, about saying it.
Dude, we got to exchange information. By the way, I'm going to go ahead and do my social media plug.
Please do.
You can follow me
I'm
on
actually...
Twitter,
Yeah,
Instagram,
Frank Lester.
Snapchat, the Frank Lester. That's the TheFrankLester. If you follow me on Snapchat, be ready to see my dick. And maybe your mom.
I can think of no better plug than that.
That was the best social media plug I've ever
And
heard.
also one that Kevin was appropriate in his skepticism of.
I was going to say, I feel completely justified.
Kev was definitely, like, you could see the thought process in his head going, oh my God, am I getting dick pics? Am I getting dick pics? Am I getting dick pics?
I mean, it's going to happen. It will happen.
Hey, you know what they say about dick pics? It's exactly like chess, so don't send them unless you're prepared to play the game. That's what they say, right? People say that?
I try and do it only after hot showers. Okay?
Which explains a lot.
You know-
Ladies and gentlemen, Frank the Tank Lester is a name well earned.
It's
Go
true.
ahead.
And if you were confused as to any reason as to why him and Bubba McDaniel were roommates, I think by the end of this interview, I think
Confusion's
everything
done.
explains
Yeah.
itself. Confusion over.
Yeah. We're all set there. Frank, we really appreciate you coming on the podcast
Bubba
tonight.
complement each other extremely well.
Yes, especially in the looks department. We will have to absolutely talk to you again. Follow him on Twitter, the Frank Lester. If you're in Birmingham or you have the internet, no excuse not to watch his fight on 4/19/2014. April 19th, people. Check it out. Frankie, the Tank Lester. Thanks again a lot for coming on the podcast, Frank.
Yeah, absolutely. I had fun. Thanks, guys.
You know, Raf, one of these days we're going to figure out how to get people just to come out of their comfort zone. Because we put Frankie Lester in a real locker of confiscation.
It's they just get intimidated, I think, is what happens.
That's probably more what it is than anything. Obviously, Raf and I are doing what we do, which is be in jest. That was awesome. This is the part of the show where Raf and I talk about the guest. I've told you that I really want to do a show on Showtime about like late 90s period piece about an up-and-coming amateur MMA fighter / bartender.
Okay. I don't think you have, but go for it.
Early LA. I'm pitching you.
Okay.
Early LA. Right on the outskirts, trying to do it as like before MMA really hits. He's teaching jiu-jitsu. He's teaching boxing. He's got a kid with a woman that it's just a lot of passion, but they can't make it work. And he's coming up through the fight game trying to be a fighter. That's his passion. Living on the beach, of course, getting into all sorts of shenanigans. Well, I think Frankie Lester's one of those people we could steal stories from to kind of put them onto paper, and we heard a few of them. They're
Well,
crazy.
we did. And, you know, he's funny. I think he also has a way of really, really making things sound crazy. Like, I'm pretty sure if a different person said this story, you'd probably be like, oh, that didn't happen. But when he talks about it, you go, no, this definitely happened. It's a matter of when and oh my God, and tell us more. And it makes the story that much more interesting. So it was a lot of fun hearing him get to talk a little bit like that.
Absolutely. And now it's time for some shout it out to the world.
Yeah.
Shout outs. Shout and outs. I go first. BJJ and MMA Academy out there in Chantilly, of course. Getting a lot of time in the mats. We got a seminar coming up. It's never been a better time to swing by if you're in the area and get some rolling in. A lot of tough guys on the mats right now. So it's been a ton of fun with some new people. Between Kevin, Mick, Brian, I give them a little shout out. Little new guy. Shout out.
Did you call him a little new guy?
No, I'm just saying my segment's a little new guy shout out. It's just
okay.
like a new guy shout out program that I'm starting.
That's
That I've never done before.
We should work on.
Of course, to Rob and Nick with their upcoming news, we're gonna have some new black belts in the gym.
Huzzah!
Raph.
That's awesome.
Yeah, great instructors, great brown belts. Just been very helpful throughout my entire jiu-jitsu career. So it'll be a ton of fun. Look forward to more on that. No Concept Jiu-Jitsu out in Maryland. Doing great work as usual. Can't wait to see them at the seminar. To the people that came over and fight watched with me, oh man, we had a blast. Like everyone was just sort of crying, laughing most of the time. So Marcus, Karen, Andrew, Victoria, and Jerry. And of course, Jerry's last because I was screaming at him for 30 minutes.
Why were you
So
screaming at
quiet.
him?
Just because he's quiet, and I was like, quit Andrew and I were picking on him for no reason. It's just like, quit disrespecting me in my house. And Andrew would be like, talk to him. Say something, Jerry. Come on. So we were just like ganging up on him.
What a bonding experience. Also,
Fight people.
You were hosting it at your house?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So that's why he was disrespecting you at your house.
Yes.
Okay. I was not clear on that.
No, I wasn't like Hooters screaming,
don't-
this is my house.
I mean,
Respect me.
it doesn't make the story any better on your part. It's just a matter of clarity so that we know exactly how insane you sound.
Super helpful for all those listening, Raf, once again. And if you missed anything I said here, listen to Raf's impression of me and the new Open Mat Radio coming up.
Whenever.
Dickhead.
The thing is, he told me he just goes, Paul in his very Paul way just goes, well, Raf, I'm not really sure when this is going to come out. We might put this as a bonus episode. And I was like, do what you want, dude. I don't care. There are obviously people more important than me. And he's just like, no, you're very important. And I think it's a great podcast. People are going to love it. And I'm like, thanks, Paul. I know I'm amazing. Blah, blah, blah.
And he'll be releasing the first 3 hours and then the next 3 hours, followed by the final 6 hours, all in a box DVD set.
That's
for
right.
those looking to get it signed by
sponsored
Raf.
by
Verbal Tapcast Studio.
Time Life magazine.
Good stuff. And don't forget, Raf and I have that new Technique VHS coming out in just a month.
Oh, man.
people are gonna
Cannot
wanna
wait
stay
for that.
tuned. Can't wait. Final shout out goes to BJJ Finder, the world's premier jiu-jitsu locator site. Head on over to bjjfinder.com. Download the app on iTunes. BJJ Finder. You just plug in your address, you find gyms, schools, everything you need to get training right away wherever you are. That's going to do it for me, Raf Esparza. Are you ready?
I am.
Are you ready?
I am. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You've never really built it up that big before.
No, I'm trying to take a little page out of the Jackson book.
I did hear the Donald Cerrone inflection there. Good job.
Thank you.
All right, here we go. Let's start with this. We've got an open mat coming up at Valley Martial Arts Center.
VMAC, VMAC.
It was a little show tunesy.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. There's a open mat, women's open mat on April 6th. You guys can come check that out. It's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of good people are starting to put together and donate gis through that. It's going to be a really, really good event. So it's Valley Martial Arts Center. If you're in North Hollywood, definitely come check it out. And if you're in the area, come train with us. It's the best place in the world to train, aside from BJJ and MMA Academy out in Chantilly. Am I right?
Yeah,
Virginia?
Chantilly, VA.
Boom.
Yeah,
Nailing
there
it.
it is.
So if you can't train with Kevin out in the East, train with me out in the West. It is so much fun. And props to all the guys who are training this week. And big props to Chris for taking his first class. So let's go down and talk about Paul Moran. I guess we should shout you out because I was on your podcast. I guess it was okay, mostly because I was on it. But Paul is maybe one of the best advocates in the jiu-jitsu community for really good podcasts. He's a big champion of this podcast and other people's stuff too. He really pushes it really hard. So I think it's only fair to say to you guys, go listen to his stuff at openmatradio.com. We're also going to give big shout outs to the good people over at Five, specifically at Five Grappling, Paul and Diane. Those guys, you see them from the minute you walk in. They're hustling and they're working their ass off. And you can tell that when one of their heads comes over to me and goes, "Hey, dude," like at the end of the night, he goes, "How come I didn't see you earlier?" I go, "I didn't want to ruin your day. Like, you're in charge of doing stuff.
You're busy.
And if I come over and go, 'Hey, joke, joke, joke,' yeah,
Zing.
terrible thing for you to have to put up with." And he just laughs. He's like, "No, it's good to see you." And you know, he was tired, but just was putting everything he had into the event. So that's the kind of thing I like seeing when I go to these tournaments, and a lot of good people who help put it together. Like, they had a lot of really good helpers. So props to them. Props to Octavio, my camera guy, who is by part now, Kevin, part of the Verbal Tap family. We gave him a t-shirt yesterday.
Octavio. Welcome to the Verbal Tab family. Remember, Octavio, fighting his way easier from outside the cage.
He knows that every single day.
I'm just making sure.
But not only is he a great training partner, but he was also really good on the camera, helped us out. It was a blast to do this second time covering an event with him, and I foresee us doing many more with him. And, Kevin and I wanted to end shout-outs with a really big shout-out to Scotty Nelson from onthemat.com. While we were recording this podcast, we were listening into a really cool webinar that Scotty put together for the community of people who want to put together gis or who have always wanted to brand out their jiu-jitsu apparel. And Scotty basically spoke for 3 hours about it and how you can improve your brand, and did it for free. And that's how you know this guy is giving back to the community. So please go check out On The Mat.
Scotty sort of wrote the book on that stuff too, which is really cool.
Yeah, and he's always been undeniably nice to the two of us. So we definitely want to push you guys over there. It looks like they've got some things going up in relation to the webinar that they're going to keep plugging for their site and helping out people and reaching out to people who want to do things and have a cool lifestyle of actually making a living doing jiu-jitsu. Not just for practicing and competing, but who also know that their brands and clothing and how they want to contribute to the growing culture that is. So we're big proponents and support that. So to Scotty and the good folks at On The Mat, thank you guys very much.
Absolutely. Five Grappling, UFC 170, and of course, Frank the Tank Lester. This is Verbal Tap. I'm Kevin. Thanks for listening.
Good night and goodbye. Love what are we going to do with it? Do you know that song?